I'm just gonna say it. Most men are weak. So weak, they can't even concentrate for more than 10 seconds. Admit it, you've already scrolled down the comments to see what other people are saying, or if someone's made a list of all 50 rules so you don't have to watch the full video. You need to work on your willpower. You will never reach your full potential or outwork your rivals if you can't focus for long periods of time. So use this video as a test for yourself. If you can reach the end without skipping and actually listen to what I say on a deep level, then you are in the minority. I've watched for years as masculinity has been suppressed by the media, so I want to make this point early on. Real masculinity isn't toxic, and that's why you need to have a deep respect for women. I wouldn't have become a millionaire in my early 20s if it wasn't for my loving and supportive wife. I understand times have changed, but I think a big reason for this is that men haven't learned how to step up. This video is just as much for women as it is for men, as they don't want losers as partners. As the famous saying goes, weak men create hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times. It's not actually most guys' fault, as they lack role models, but if they remain weak and pass on these beliefs to their children, then we're in for a lot of trouble. That's why it's important to prioritise family above everything. I've always been close with my son Curtis, and from the day he was old enough to speak, I've emphasised the importance of legacy. There is always someone in a family who is the first to succeed, and in my case, it was me. In your case, it could be you. That's why whenever you're doing something, think about the legacy you want to build for the future. If you want to be the person to strike it big in your family, then you need to watch what most people are doing and do the opposite. This is a pretty simple idea, because if you do what everyone else does, then you're going to get the same results. I always rejected the idea of being normal and vanilla. As the saying goes, if you're everyone's cup of tea, then you're a mug. You also need to be prepared to fail fast. When I was growing my wealth, I really didn't worry about if I was doing everything perfectly. It's much better to just get started and then learn from your mistakes. It's only really a failure if you repeat the same mistake. A great way to do this is to make reversible decisions fast. I learned this rule from Jeff Bezos, as he said that with a decision that you can go back on, your biggest risk is dragging your feet and not making a decision. However, when decisions are irreversible, slow them down. In this case, the biggest risk is making the wrong decision, so it's worth getting some more information. I mean, if you never fail, then you're not trying hard enough. I enjoy skiing with my son, and I remember one year we competed to see who could fall the least. I won, as Curtis fell over a lot. However, he improved tremendously, and now he's much faster than me. And this just proves that failure leads to improvement if it's embraced. Once you've gone through this, you often feel like you know nothing, but you're only smart when you feel like you know nothing. This is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, as the more you learn about a topic, the more you know what you don't know. The problem is most people can't get to this stage, as they just can't face failure. It's too painful for them, so they end up blaming other people. That's why my next rule is never complain. Even if your whole world is crumbling, complaining to the world won't do anything positive for you. I'm not saying you can't express your feelings, but it's important to remember we all have our own problems, and not many people care about fixing yours. Instead of complaining, look at the problems objectively and find solutions. I'd much prefer that to someone just patting me on the back and pretending they care. This means you can stay in control at all times. Whenever I say this, people think I'm saying that men should be controlling, but I actually mean they should be competent. If you want to attract a woman, then one of the most attractive qualities you can have is being in control of yourself and your environment. This projects a type of confidence that just can't be faked. Of course, sometimes you're going to make mistakes, such as saying or doing something wrong. We're all human, and that's natural. However, it's important you own your mistakes without exceptions. This will set you apart from most people, as they will see a person of integrity. If you combine this with apologizing quickly and sincerely, then you're going to build an extremely strong inner circle. You need to build a strong network, as it beats money in the bank any day. I can't count how many times my connections have helped me out. I know the contacts in my phone are worth millions, and I could solve pretty much any issue I face in the future with one call. Let's pause for a second. Are you listening? I mean, truly listening? Or did you just gloss over all of that information? Well done if you were paying attention, but if you weren't and instead replying to a text, just remember, you don't always have to reply instantly. It's important to give yourself time to focus on things deeply without distractions. So close any of your open tabs and really take this opportunity to refocus. This is your life and you need to be able to enter a state of concentration. Really internalize what I'm saying and think, how are you going to apply this to your life? My mentor once told me, don't be the best, be the only. And to me, that meant that I had to make myself so different that no one could be the same. You can do this by learning seemingly unrelated skills and combining them. Steve Jobs is well known for mixing his love for calligraphy and design with technology and creating Apple as we know it today. In order to do this, you need to stand for something greater than yourself. This comes from having values you don't compromise under any circumstances. One of my cornerstone values we've already touched on, which is prioritizing my family. If something isn't in their best interest, then I will not do it under any circumstances. So figure out what you're passionate about and make a stand. This will allow you to command respect from others. This is because reputation is everything. It is one of the few things that lives on after you die. I've had the unfortunate experience of attending many funerals in my time, and the person is always remembered for their character, not their achievements. On this subject, you need to mentally prepare yourself for your loved ones dying. I know this isn't the nicest thing to talk about, but you do need to think about it. When something like this happens, it can send shockwaves throughout our lives, and if you aren't ready to withstand this, then you'll just crumble. Thinking this way also helps you to value every moment you spend with your loved ones, as nothing is forever. This really feeds into the rule that you should live in the moment but plan for the future. It's so easy to go through life on autopilot, swiping social media in a daze, but if you actually stop for a second and be present, then you'll find you'll become much happier. This will actually help you to fulfill your long-term goals, as longevity is everything. It's relatively easy to have some short-term success and then go and blow it all on fancy cars and designer clothes. What's much more impressive is doing it again and again over long periods of time. That's what true legends do. I think the main reason most men don't become legends is they stop learning. That's why the rule, always be a student, is so important. I have never stopped learning. I'm a 55-year-old man making YouTube videos in his spare time. The internet wasn't even around when I was a kid, so it's been a long learning curve, but I've embraced the challenge and remained curious. I believe that you should always fix your weak spots, especially the ones that really bother you when someone else brings them up. In fact, building on this point, you should learn from those that disagree with you. Too many people are trapped in a bubble on social media. They can't face their beliefs being challenged. You can learn something from everyone, so just because you don't agree on a couple of things doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to their opinions. The next rule is one I'm very passionate about, and it's to invest early. Now, I know a lot of self-help YouTubers are saying investing your money is not worth the time, as you'll only get 8% per year. However, they're just kids. They aren't looking at the bigger picture. Of course, it's important to make money quickly, but it's equally important to let some of it grow passively. But let's not beat around the bush. I've made millions of dollars through stock market investing, but I've also lost money by investing in the wrong companies. That's why you need to make sure you're using a tool that provides you with all the necessary information to make informed decisions. This is where today's sponsor Moomoo comes in. If you're interested in building wealth, then you're really going to want to listen to this. It's a powerful investing platform founded in Silicon Valley with over 20 million users worldwide. You can trade stocks straight from your laptop, iPad or smartphone, whether in the United States, Australia or Singapore. It's even commission free for US residents trading in US securities. Personally, I really like the free tool they offer, which allows you to see what famous institutions have invested in and what sectors are performing best. As a beginner, you can also practice your trading ideas with a demo account before entering the market. If you sign up today using the link in the description, you can receive up to 17 free stocks, each worth between $3,000 and $2,000, as well as $100 cash reward. sold. That's a great deal, as these free stocks can help you build your portfolio right away and get a head start. Lots of people ask why I take on sponsorships when I already have enough money, and that's because of the next rule. Always beat your prior best in everything you do. I want to make sure that each video I post on this channel is better than the last one, which means I have to pay my team well. If I can run this channel at how much it costs me to produce the videos, then I'm happy, as long as I keep making better content for you guys. I've always tried to give without taking. I make sure that everything I do adds value to the people around me. Even the sponsorships I take on give something back to you guys in the form of free stocks or discounts of some kind. The truth is, no one has ever regretted giving away too much on their deathbeds. There's a lot of skepticism around online gurus because many just want to make a ton of money selling a badly made online course for $997. That's why the next law is so important. Always judge a person by their actions and not their words. Look, words are cheap and action speaks volumes. That's why you should always look into the people you're following before implementing their advice. This even goes for your parents and grandparents. You should never disrespect your elders. But equally, if you don't agree with them, you don't have to do what they say. It's so important to have your own opinions. I see way too many people acting like sheep online. I get that it's easier to follow the herd mentality. However, it's much better to reserve judgment until you come to your own opinion. The mainstream media like to repeat the same messages again and again while silencing opposing opinions. This is why, as a man, you can never allow yourself to be mentally dominated. It's widely believed that they're trying to eliminate masculinity in order to create a more docile population, as military-aged men are the only people that can stand in their way of complete, uncontested power. I personally don't listen to the news. It's highly negative and there isn't much I can do about world events. You should do the same and become a producer, not a consumer. I understand consuming to a certain extent, especially if you learn a lot from the content, but you should always be trying to put more out in the world than you're taking. Otherwise, you'll end up broke. You should also learn how to defend yourself. Hopefully this is something you'll never need to rely on, but I definitely think that if you're physically strong, then you'll command more respect as a man in life and in business. Learning some martial art is definitely worthwhile. This makes it so much easier to follow the next rule, which is to stand up to bullies. You can't allow yourself to be bullied by anyone, man or woman. In most cases, if you do this once, then you won't need to do it again. Bullies can really knock your confidence, and this isn't something you can afford as you develop as a man. It's equally important to never talk behind someone's back. As a man, if you have a problem with someone, you should address it with them directly or not at all. You may think that gossiping about people when they can't hear you doesn't matter, but it actually makes you less trustworthy to those that are listening. They're unlikely to trust you after this, as they're thinking that you're going to do the same behind their backs. Trust is everything. That's why you should never date a friend's ex. I get it. She may come to you after a breakup and say that she always liked you, but your loyalty to your friend should be strong enough to reject her. There are so many other girls out there. You don't need to snake your friend for her. On the topic of relationships, you need to remember your first relationship isn't your last. It's very rare that you're going to get it right the first time round. It may seem like you want to be with someone forever, but that's probably not going to be the case, and that's okay. There's plenty more fish in the sea. But here's my next rule. Never cheat on a girl. It may feel good in the moment, but compromising your values will hurt your confidence in the long term. If you do choose to date, as a man, you should always pay the bill. This might be seen as old-fashioned now, but it's an important part of being a gentleman. It's only simping if you keep doing it and she's showing you no affection back. Above all, if she doesn't like you, then you should never take rejection personally. This goes for anything, even a job interview. Just try and think about it from their perspective and change whatever you need to for the next time. For the people that are still listening closely, if you want to become successful, then you need to use your unfair advantages. We all have them. Just think about what you're really good at or the opportunities available to you and use them to your advantage. Once you've found these, The only thing standing in your way is procrastination. So allocate blocks of time to tasks and get them done. I like to think of it as donating hours to a specific target. Always have deadlines, as it forces you to be more efficient, and it also helps you separate your work from all judgment. When faced with a challenging task, there are typically two voices in your head. One is excited to get started, while the other is constantly criticizing. If your negative voice is louder, you may struggle to complete the task at hand. It's so important to be fueled by vision, not fear. Fearful people worry about losing what they have and can never see far enough ahead to build something for the future. Bearing this in mind, I still think you should say no if you genuinely aren't ready. Don't be afraid to admit when you need more time or experience before taking on a task. There's a popular idea of fake it till you make it, but if you're not able to fill your knowledge gaps before taking on a significant task, it's better to decline it outright. You don't want to come across as a huge capper. Instead, present yourself how you wish to be perceived. It's important to think about how you want to come across to others and then make a conscious effort to present yourself in that way. This includes how you dress, how you speak, and even how you carry yourself. Think of it like building your own video game character from the ground up. As soon as you upgrade your character, then you need to automate as much as possible. My son knew that he wanted to get fitter, but didn't have the brain power to put into gym plans, so he hired a personal trainer. The more things you can do this for, the better, as it allows you to think about other things that you can improve. If you try and do everything by yourself, then you're going to stretch yourself too thin and slip up. You could end up breaking the golden rule of never being late. Punctuality is a sign of respect for other people's time and shows that you're reliable and trustworthy. Early is on time is late, and late is unforgivable. On the note of putting too much stress on yourself, you really shouldn't be embarrassed to take a nap now and again. Rest is an important part of productivity, and sometimes that means taking a nap when you need it. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed to do so, as it can actually help you be more productive in the long run. I hope you've been able to internalize a lot of these rules so far. I've told them in a story so that it's easier to listen to rather than a numbered list. This is actually a rule itself. Learn how to tell stories. Being able to tell a good story is an important skill in life, whether you're trying to entertain friends or persuade a business partner. Look, if you manage to follow all of these rules, and remember, play the game for fun. Life is a never-ending game, and it's important to find enjoyment and meaning in the journey, rather than just focusing on the end goal of becoming super rich. If you want to know why you shouldn't start a side hustle, then I'm going to leave that video right up there, but don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your wealth. Okay, I'll see you over there.